Here's 3 different ways I journal for my mental health. Stick around, there's going to be a bonus tip at the end. So, all you got to do with deep journaling is you sit down for around 30 minutes. Some people journal like this for 3 hours. You just sit down for however much time you need and you solve a problem. Deep journaling is all about finding something within yourself, solving a problem, or answering a question that you don't know about yourself, whether that be morals or whatever, right? You don't have to set a timer or anything. You just do it until the problem is solved. It helps you solidify your ideas and your thoughts. Instead of just having everything kind of be up here, you're thinking everything up here, nothing's really getting saved per se. You're saving everything that comes to mind. You're just writing everything that comes to mind. You're putting it on paper. Don't worry about how it looks. If it's punctuated right, just get it down. That's the most important thing here. With any journaling, don't worry about how it looks, how it sounds, how it's punctuated. Just write it. Yes, punctuate it if you need to. Don't overthink it. All you need to know with deep journaling is write stuff on a piece of paper, and the whole thing, the purpose of it is to decipher what you need to be deciphered. It's going to be personal, so whatever personal problem you're going through, write it down. It's really going to help you put things here and why this is here. You're asking yourself questions, you're answering them, and then eventually you get to the point where you make your decision. I don't deep journal every day. I only do it, obviously, when there's a problem. Deep journaling is not something you have to do every day. It's just something that you do when something has to be solved and you really need to consult someone, but you really don't have anyone to consult about it. So you can consult yourself in the book, basically. The next way I journal is grateful journaling. One of the best ways you can journal. I do it every day in the morning after I meditate. So good. So how I do it is I write down 10 things that I'm grateful for every day after I meditate. I used to do it at the very beginning when I first started it. I used to write letters. So sometimes you'll hear people say, write it in letter format. That's good if you prefer doing it that way. I didn't prefer doing it that way because it takes more time and whatever. You're focusing on one specific thing. If you want to do that, fine. You don't have to send the letters to anyone. And if you want to, do it. I don't do it. I write down 10 things that I'm grateful for. So like say I'm just sitting here, I'm grateful for my cup sitting right there, and eventually you're going to get to that point. At the beginning, it's going to feel really hard. Things aren't going to flow. You're going to be forcing yourself to write down, I'm grateful for this. You might have to think in between each run before you actually get 10 things on the paper. And again, you don't have to do 10, do whatever feels right for you. After a couple weeks, you're going to get used to writing down things that you're grateful for, and you're actually going to become more grateful for the things just around you, like little minor things you never would have cognitively thought, I'm grateful for that. After a couple weeks, I started saying, I was grateful for my lamps, for my pillows, and just for like everything. It's so beneficial, and you feel really good. It starts the day off positive instead of just waking up. You might feel kind of groggy, and you're getting out the bed and just you're going through the day like that. You started off with this ritual of positive thinking. It gets you set in the right mindset and the right frame of mind to continue your day, and you can start your day productive and happy and positive at the same time. The third one is mental health check. So I started doing this mental health check about a week and a half ago. So it's the one that I just started recently. All these other ones that I'm talking about, I've done for a long time. Grateful journaling, probably the second shortest amount of time, but that doesn't matter. So mental health check, you can do this one digitally or you can do it on paper. All the other ones I just do on paper, but this one I tend to do digitally most of the time. So you grab your phone, you get on your laptop. Phone's probably better because it's going to be with you most of the time. Say you're riding in the car, going somewhere, and you just pull it out and you write down, what you plan to do that day, what you've already done, and how you're feeling. The main part of this is how you're feeling. If you're feeling anxious about something, or you had an anxious thought or a negative thought, bring that up here. This is your chance to bring that specific anxious thought or negative thought up. You bring it to light. Like Alex Hormozi says, if there's a voice inside you, you really have to bring it to light. And once you bring it to light, you can examine it and say, this is who this voice is. Learn to decipher that and learn to understand it. So if I'm feeling anxious about something, say I have a party or a get together that evening, just an example. I might feel anxious about going to this party. Well, I bring that up here and I say, I had an anxious thought about this. And so I examine that. This is why I'm anxious. Why am I anxious because of this? And I figured it out. It only doesn't take too much time. But by doing that, just that simple act of deciphering and why you're anxious of it, it really just like, that's not even a good reason to be anxious about it. Again, this is something you do in the morning. Deep journaling is normally something you do in the evening, or it's in the morning. I tend to do deep journaling in the evening, but this one I always do in the morning along with grateful journaling. And it really helps me get that right from your mind, getting the set, and starting the day right. Starting the day right is one of the most beneficial things if you're trying to be productive. If you don't start the day right, it literally sets up everything else after to be disastrous. It's not going to necessarily be disastrous, say you miss journaling or you miss meditation, but ideally you want to get all this stuff done to have your ideal day, right? Everyone is trying to be, do this, and this is all about getting the ideal day. This is your ideal day. Not every day is going to be perfect. Not every day you're going to do grateful journaling, but it's the goal, right? Again, this is your mental health check, or it could be mental health journaling, whatever. I call it mental health check for the day. It sets your baseline for how you feel that day. It really just gets you set, start the day right, like all these other ones. And it's very beneficial, helps me a lot. I suggest that you start doing it. All right, number 4, bonus tip. This is daily diary. Daily diary is the one I have been doing the longest out of all of these. When I got my first journal, here, let me pull it out. When I got my first journal, which is this one right here, that's the first thing I started doing, is just writing down how my days went. So I've been on self-improvement for around 1.5 years, 2 years now. Over time, you're gonna wanna look back at your old self. And when you're really feeling down in the dumps of how you are now, all you have to do is pull out an old journal, or even the journal you have now, if you have a fairly decent sized journal, just look back in the past and say, man, look at this guy. And the way daily diary is, it can kind of be whatever you want it to be. So it could be like a mental health check. It could be whatever. I call it daily notes. So in my journal, it's like daily notes and whatever. And it could be notes that I learned from a video. It could be, how I'm feeling, what I did that day, whatever. But it's really good to get those thoughts out of your mind. So you have a lot of thoughts in your mind, get them out and on a book. By putting them on a piece of paper, it allows your mind to relax because you know that you've saved it somewhere. Your mind's stressed and it's got a lot of thoughts up there. And by saving these thoughts on a piece of paper, you're like, okay, I can go back here if I need to think about that again. And most of the time you don't need to think about it again, but you will go back eventually, just looking at how you were before. But it really helps just to relax your mind, get all these thoughts out that are kind of cluttering your mind, maybe giving you a little bit of brain fog. Any of these, this one helped me a lot. Maybe not in terms of mental health, but it helped me just get what was in my head down. And I had a lot of good ideas by just journaling in like a diary form. Like I said, a lot of good ideas formed and stuff like that. And it's just really positive to look back at how I was. Like, man, I used to be playing video games this many times a day. Like, I used to write down in my journal for a goal to play video games and win so many games, like in Fortnite or something. It's so funny. It's really good to do this, man. You're gonna look back and you're gonna be so happy you did it. All right, that's the end of this video. If I provided you with sufficient information, if I helped you any, please consider subscribing and hit me a like. Helps me a lot, and by helping me, I get to help you more. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.